How old were you, Jason, when that came out? Yeah, how old was you when that came out? Shalom, shalom. Yes, right, y'all. This is Yahonatan Dawid with you here. Yahweh for Christians at gmail.com. Y'all remember that? Y'all go in there and see those Bruce Lee movies and come out thinking y'all can fight. Go in there swinging, kicking at poles and stuff, hurting yourself, looking like a hot mess. Oh, so you was like two, one. You were. Okay. Well, I was already 11 years old. So that song is more telling than what you realize. I talked about this fear last week, and we're ruled by fear. These world's governments are ruling us by fear because you know what? It grounds you. It keeps you from being who you are. It keeps from that melanin from working. It seizes you. You know, they tell you fear God and keep his commandments. But I showed you last week that they improperly use the word. The word is not to fear, but it's to reverence Yahweh. Because we know that Shaul told us, telling Timothy, that Yahweh has not given us a spirit of fear, but of a sound mind. So Yahweh couldn't tell us to fear him. And we do know that he told us that John told us that there's no fear in love. We are to love him. So if we love him, there is no fear because fear involves torment. And if you're in torment, you will be afraid to move, to act, to usurp yourself, the authority that you have. So we are told to fear, but we need to overcome that fear, and we are being ruled by those who really fear you. You just don't know it. That's what all this social media is about. It's about watching everything you do. The more involved you are with technology, the more you're watched. They know your buying habits, your spending habits, your eating habits, your entertainment habits. They know everything, right? And I hate technology. I'm not very good at it. My phone is seized up right now. I can't even use it right now. It's happened 2 Sundays in a row. It's happened back to back, where I'm not being able to use this technology I need to help with this ministry that I have, and it's attacked by the prince of the powers of the air. But we will work around that. I know my wife is trying to contact me. She's not gonna be able to do it because the phone is seized up. So fear, fear. There is no fear in love. We do not realize that our history is totally lied to us. The face of the man of truth, that in the man of the book, you open that book, is you in that book. It's been totally eviscerated in every way. And I've been talking about that for about a year now on 2 different stations and in 2 different books. I went out last week and I did get some people to purchase this book. I even met a young man who said his mother has my first one. This is Yahweh Shua, I Am Original Words, Original Truth. The first book is Yahweh for Christians. I Am Original Words, Original Truth. I ask that you go ahead and at least purchase that and learn something of true history. Now, one of the things that was taken from us is our abilities to defend ourselves. Now, how do you think Jacob fought against Yahweh Shua all night long? How did he do that? It wasn't just grappling, wrestling, but there is element of it. One of the things that was taken from us, actually, the first thing was the Hebrew language. When you lose your language, you lose a lot of power. We lost that before we lost the land. Aleph, Bet, Gimel, Dalet, Hey, Wah, Chet, Tet. Zayin, Chet, Tet, Yod, Kaf, Lamet, Mem, Nun, Samek, Ayin, Pei, Sadi, Kaf, Resh, Shem, Tau. You know, if you think about it, some of that, a lot of that has an Asiatic sound to it, and there's good reason for that. That it has a sound of Japanese, Chinese. It's because they have been copied from you, and you didn't know that. And each one of those letters, those Ibarit letters, have a martial art movement to it. And you didn't know that. And these Ibarit letters, and if you look at my first book, I'm the first one to introduce this to the Hebrew community, the pictographic Hebrew Ibarit. Not the Jubru letters that we're given today, but the original letters and the way they looked, which were copied from the stars. And because the man of sin does not believe in the word of Yahweh, those stars will fall down and burn up this whole earth. The letters were around Yahweh's head like a crown, and he used them to create all things. These letters are living, and they are spirits, and they are power. Use them, use the Ibarit language for power. And I'm going to have to get my man Elder Moore to, I'm going to have to get video of him doing, he's a martial arts expert, to get him to do some movements of each of these letters. And each of these letters have a martial art component to them. And they were used in the book, but you don't realize it because you're reading the King James Version, Bible. You know, one of them that was used was Yod by Yahshua. When he turned over the tables in the temple, he did not physically lift and turn those tables over. If he'd done that, he would have violated himself being represented as what you call the red heifer, which I talk about in my second book. The red heifer could not do that in the temple of lifting up tables and turning them about. But he could have done that if he used the martial art of the letter Yod. If you watch some of those old Bruce Lee videos, you see how his punches are so powerful and forceful, even without touching the object, he can cause an object to move. And this is what Yahshua did when he was in the temple. He did not touch those objects. Martial arts with the letter Yud caused those objects to move. How about the letter Pe? When he was in the Garden of Gethsemane, and when the Roman soldiers came up against him, he said, "I am." And they flew back by the power of the martial art of the letter Pe. You didn't know that. But all the 22 letters are different movements of martial arts. Dawid says in Psalm 18, "By you I can run up against a troop. I can leap over a wall. You give me arms of strength to bend metal. My feet are like deer. You jump over walls. You make my hands like stronger than bronze. My fingers are taught to make war." These fingers are hand movements of the letters of the Torah. Now they call it martial arts today. How else could you explain what Jacob and his 10 sons and a few servants did in the story that's outlined in the book of Jasher, which is not in the King James Bible, but has been quoted by the King James Bible several times? It's not in there because your suppressor doesn't want it in there, because you will learn that you are a superhero. They make the X-Men and all these things, that it is you that they're copying. Starting from Jasher 33, we find that Dinah, Jacob's only daughter, was violated by Shechem. He went out to go get her. He sent some servants out to get her, and they mocked them. Two of his sons, Simon and Levi, went out there to do vengeance. They cut a deal to go ahead and covenant with them, but Yahweh said, "Do not mix." And he means that. He don't want you mixing with those who are not Ibri. He don't want you mixing your clothing. Certain foods you shouldn't mix. You're not even supposed to mix your animals when you're plowing the field. He knows what he's talking about for this reason. So they go ahead and cut a deal, had all the men circumcised, with plans of coming back and killing them all. And that they did. About 800 souls. And as they were going out, some of the other older men who they did not kill threw stones at them. And other men, what did Simon do? After killing about 800 men, he killed 300 more. Then they took 85 virgins, sheep, oxen, and all the booty, and dragged it with them. 2 men. In verse 40, they said, "How could 2 men do all this? How much energy does it take to even fight with vigor, one man?" As a matter of fact, Verse 31 says they came back with vigor. How do you do that? Every man just stand up before you and let them kill him? You cannot do that unless you're doing what you may call ninja moves. Isn't it quite interesting? You get the words jiu-jitsu, judo, ninja. No, it's yajitsu, yadu, ninja. It is not coincidence. This is why they hate you too. That's right. Those Asians, they all hate you. All those so-called Orientals. They don't like that word, but all of them, they hate you too, because they have been copied from you. And you cannot do this with you're fighting mighty men of war. You cannot do this unless you can leap and flip and turn and jump and bound and and do these things that fight men of war. They say, how did they do this? 7 kings came up against 11 of Jacob's sons. Benjamin was not part of them. As a matter of fact, it was only 10 because I don't think Yusuf was part of them either, too young. So I think Yusuf was too young and Benjamin probably wasn't even born yet. And 112 of Jacob's servants. And Isaac, because old man Isaac was still around at that time. Sent some of his servants out there. The sages of these kings said, don't go up against these people. Have you not heard what their father did? Abraham, with a few of his servants, 300 men, and slew 5 kings of Elam. That's right. They learned how to fight from their daddy. Abraham and 300 men slew 5 kings of Elam when they violated his cousin and took his property. So they went on and said, okay, we'll stand down. But you know what? When Shechem was rebuilt years later, they was not going to go for that. They came back again. And the book says they was numbered as the sands of the sea. 10 black brothers, Hebrew brothers, against all of them and some of their servants. Old man Jacob came back in the rear with his bow and arrow. This is an awesome sight. Can you go up against all that without fear? I remember when I was in the Marine Corps and I did some training, we had to do hand-to-hand combat training, and I was knocking them down. You had to stand on a log, so you had to also keep your balance. So no one could beat me. So the drill sergeant, he sent up 2. He said, well, we're going to see what we can do with this guy. They had 2, one on each end of the log and me in the middle. I couldn't beat 2 men. I couldn't beat 2 men. I could knock down 1, but I couldn't get 2. Can you imagine having and also David said, my feet don't slip. Having feet nimble like a deer, being strong as an ox, being able to leap and flip and do all manner of movements to destroy many men. But you can only do that if you don't have fear. If you fear, you can't jump. The only place they want you jumping is on the basketball court. That's the only place they want you jumping. They don't want you to learn the Hebrew alphabet because you're going to learn how to fight. You're going to learn what movements to make. Some of them, just like some of the Hebrew letters are consonants, some are vowels. Some of the movements are active, some of them are passive, some of them are defensive. This language is powerful. Yahweh for Christians at gmail.com. Call a brother. Get the book. Get both of them. Learn something. That crap Sharpton talking about. We're asking for the right thing, but from the wrong people. You forget about your natives, and they fought very well. They fought very well, very violently. But over 500 treaties they agreed to. Where are they now? Look around. Did you see one yesterday? Did you see an Indian yet today? Oh, you think you're going to see one tomorrow? They're not even in your social view. Somewhere drunk on a reservation somewhere. Where do you think you're going to be? How if the one who deconstructed you going to tell you how to be reconstructed and in their way? They only know power. There was no voting going on when Shaitan went against Yah. They were kicked out with power. Yahweh did not take a poll. He did not take a vote. He did not ask for anybody's opinion. They were kicked out with force and might. And when they mixed with his sons and daughters on the earth, they were held with chains and put in Sheol with might and power. They were not asked to do nothing. They were fighting using the Aleph Bayet, Gimel, Dalet, Hey, Wah. The record says that Jacob, he prayed. He said, listen, y'all, I got 10 sons right here and some servants going against all these men like the sands of the sea. If it be your will, don't let them violate my sons. You kill them with your ministers. That means the Malakim and Hashemayim. He didn't want to have these dogs killing his sons. He said they're not supposed to go out there and defend, and all this from them violating his daughter. Then you kill them. Verse 17, and when Jacob ceased praying to Yahweh, the earth shook, and from its place, and the sun darkened, and all these kings were terrified, and a great consternation seized them. See, fear seizes you. I can't read all this. It will take me an hour at least to go through this record. But that prayer, that's the letter Kaf. Your hands are up. There's two ways of praying. You're supposed to pray both ways. One is supplication. You're supposed to bow down, face covered, cover your face, and bow before Yah. I use my hair to cover my face and bow before Yah. And then there's exaltation, when you're up with your hands up, your palms up. That's one of the Hebrew letters. You don't know that because you're too busy reading KJV. And that prayer is power. And I know a righteous man who did that. And also I know a man who was on this microphone, by the way, who spoke and shook the earth. So y'all don't get that reading KJV. You got to know a little bit of Hebrew, at least the letters. Get in front of the mirror and learn some of those moves. So the record says that Yahweh thundered from heaven, and it goes on. It goes on and on. And who led the fight? Yahudah. Yahudah. The record says Yahudah took 10 servants, and they slew thousands of them. They went in camps. They divided themselves up with their few servants. And another, like I said, also our voice is a weapon. The voice is power. You should be able to know a Hebrew man by his voice. You should be able to recognize and have discernment of the power of a Hebrew man. You should be able to discern that and Shema, the power. How did Yahshua escape at least twice the hands of his enemies who tried to kill him on the spot because of the power of his words? And they came before him, and he just went through them. Y'all don't see your ninjaism, and y'all don't see it. He used the Hebrew letter Dalet. The Dalet is the door. If you don't understand Yahweh, you can't find the door. You can't see him. And it just went all through him, all about him, all around him. Because Yahshua is what you would call a ninja. And so are you if you learn who you are. But you don't. Y'all too busy out there going after the enemy's ways of ameliorating your problems that they have caused. So they're going to go ahead and say, this is how you get over top of us. This is how you defeat us. Come on. Are you subjected and dumb? Can't be both. Yes, I am subjected right now. But I ain't dumb. I tell you that. And you can read my stuff. You see, I am not a stupid man. You still, like I said, I gave you about 7 scriptures last week of how you must obey the laws of the land. As a matter of fact, the righteous man is the best man. The righteous one is the best one to hire and work for you because they're going to do their jobs the best they can. And they're going to honor. Didn't Daniel do that? Didn't Moses do that? Didn't Yusuf do that? Esther? Whenever you're in subjection, you're supposed to honor the king or whoever the boss is, as long as it doesn't go against Yah's laws. You honor them. Jun Fan. That's Bruce Lee. That's his given name, Jun Fan. If you even right now put in Bruce, it's still the first name that comes up as Lee after all these decades. Can you believe that? Why would he choose the name Bruce? That's a brother's name. His great grandfather was a Jew. I bet you didn't know that. Now, Judaism is not genetics. Judaism is a religion. Please get that straight. It is a religion. It's not genetics. But let's go ahead and give him that. Let's say I'm going to give the brother say he's got some Hebrew in him. Why is it always when you look at your martial art movies, the sidekick got to be a black man? Jesse Glover was Bruce Lee's first ever student, and I believe he's still alive today. And the man is fast. If you look at some video of him, he's like, I know he's got to be like 85 years old. He is fast still right now. If he's still alive, I think he's still alive. He put the last bit of dirt on top of Bruce Lee, and we always talk about our people who were murdered in the 70s, Medgar Evers and Malcolm X, but Bruce Lee was murdered. Bruce Lee was murdered because if that man had been allowed to live and continue, I think he would have woken up a lot of Hebrews. Because, like I said, you go out, you come out and see Enter the Dragon, you was out there like you saw, like the white people do when they see Rocky movie. Come out there swinging and kicking and fighting, all jacked up and hyped up. That's what he did. I think a lot of people woke up as to who they were. Bruce Lee was murdered. Just like Malcolm X and all the rest of them, he was murdered. His form of fighting was called Jeet Kune Do. He invented that. Jeet Kune Do. And it's a hybrid of jiu-jitsu, judo, kung fu. It is not a fixed type of martial arts. In English, it's called the intercepting fist. It uses minimal effort with maximum effect. How can the children of Israel, right, how could the children of Jacob slay thousands? They went from city to city to city, jumping over their walls and kicked all kinds of butt. You have to have maximum effort, minimal effort with maximum effect. With these Ibarit moves mimicking the pictographic Hebrew alphabet. Learn your history, Yisrael. Yehonathan Dawid with you here. Y'all with your Christians. You ain't going to ever spend 10 minutes with me and not learn something. Sit down with your Christian preacher. You ain't going to learn jack. You're going to come out there. This is stupid, matter of fact, more dumb and lost a waste of time. How can a man overcome a man who can kill 1,000? There's only one way. There's only one way. With shishabom. I taught that word a long time ago. That is inventions. And that's what they're good at. Inventions. Which is why I tell you, I divorce myself or disassociate myself. Not divorce myself because I never was involved with them. I disassociate myself with black Hebrew Israelites. They are fools. You ain't going there and fight nobody. Not one of them have any. If they have a gun permit, they can't make one. You can't make weapons. There's only one man who controls all the weaponry on the earth. So how are you going to fight anybody? The conditions you are in cannot be ameliorated with your fighting. Only Yahweh can get us out now. Only Yahweh can do it now. What you need to do is to wake up, go out, be a righteous man, do your job, come home to your wife. Anybody violate you or your family, you make sure they don't leave. You fell them. You can't fell them if you're in fear of them. As long as they don't violate you, you go ahead and do whatever you're supposed to do. Keep the law of Yahweh, keep the law of man, obey those who have rule over you, and protect what belongs to you. And let no one violate you. That's what you're called to do. So we got, you know, I call us ninjas. Y'all think I'm just saying that just to be funny, but no, I say that because I know the spirit of it. I know the spirit of it, and I know that those they hate you. They feed you cat, dog, and I don't like to eat their food because they know from where they come from. They have, just like the rest of the men, have stolen a part of your identity. They've taken it to themselves and use it, and they get all the credit for it. But they're quick, even in your movies you see in your movies, your comedies, and your more serious martial arts movies. They gotta have that black man as the sidekick. They gotta have that Jesse Glover, Bruce Lee's first student. So they give you a passive acknowledgement of where they get their stuff from, of where they get this craft from. Aleph, Bet, Gimel, Dalet, Hey, Wa, Zayin, Chet, Tet, Yod, Kaf, Lamet, Mem, Nun, Samek, Ayin, Pei, Sadi, Kaf, Resh, Shem, Tau. That's your Aleph Bayet. That's your Aleph Bayet. And there's power in that. Original words will give you original truth of all things. Of all things, I was talking to a brother yesterday. A lot of people don't understand what happened when they don't understand the deeper meaning of David and Bathsheba. She is the daughter of promise. He knew he was supposed to be with her. He knew it because he's a prophet, but he did it the wrong way. Just like Jacob took his birthright the wrong way. So they each had to pay for it on the back end. But David was wrong. But if you look at in all the line in Matthew and Luke, the whole line both includes Shalomo, which means he was supposed to be born. But Dawid went about it the wrong way. Didn't he get Nabal's wife? He was going to kill Nabal, but his wife said, "Wait a minute, he's just living by his name," which means stupid. So David didn't kill him, but he eventually got the man's wife. He got it the right way when the man died anyway. So you can do the things the right way or the wrong way. Either way, stories like that I can help you with by studying the words. This is what Ruach HaKodesh has done for me. This is Yahweh's gift to me. And my name means gift of Yah. I am your gift, receive it. Learn your history and empower yourself. You're not empowering yourself voting. Your enemy says, "I have done you wrong. This is how you can get back at me. This is the way you do it. Here's the blueprint to overcome me." Wake up. Wake up. It would never happen. 400 years. I'm eventually going to have to talk about the we talked about the voting and the history of that and the Reconstruction, but it's the poison pill will always be put into whatever advances you make. A poison pill will always be put in whenever you make an advance, because whenever you take a Hebrew out and put him in an environment, he will rise in that milieu with whatever tools he has. He will rise, but a poison pill will be put in. And that's when they have to reconstruct all over again. So I might have to revisit that a little bit because there's still a few things I want to talk about on that. And I'm looking at some of my notes here. I see I couldn't get to everything. But I need your support to help me to do this. I need your support to help give you this insight in a different way. The theme song is not doing things the same way. Doing things the same ways gets you the same results. And we don't want the same results. We need to learn who we are. We cannot get true history being told, if it's being told to us by someone who is not you, who does not benefit from you knowing your true history. They're going to filter it and bend it towards their end. That's common. Don't you have common sense? Don't you have common sense? I hope we have common sense. You don't have to know a lot of history. You don't have to know a lot of anything. Just have regular routine sense. If someone has put you down, have faith in him, and you lift him up back above him. That doesn't make sense. That, so I just want you to. This is Jonathan Dawit with you here, Yahweh for Christians at gmail.com. I'm going to talk a little bit more about this inner power we have. This inner power we have. Bear with me, and I'm going to get this out on YouTube. Last week's session and this week's session, as soon as I get a little bit help in getting that done. Until next week, shalom, shalom.